Hello agents, today we are going to be starting a new video series off for the Division 2 and it revolves around builds. So many of us throw up builds that we advise you to use based on our playstyle, when in truth you should be looking at what suits you before you trial and error your build to find the perfect matches to suit your playstyle. The Division 2 used to have set builds that were your go-to build, so to say, and there was no need in experimenting with others, but with time we now have a vast amount of different builds that you can create and they are all viable. In this video series, we are instead going to look at how to make certain types of builds while showing you my opinion on what goes well with that type. The aim is to give you a video where you can watch and then go and create your own build yourself with what you have learned that is based around the playstyle that you choose. And then after each video, I'll release some of my creations in the days that follow so you can also see what I came up with. If you like the idea of this series, then please do hit the like button and share this video so others can check it out too. Don't forget to subscribe to show support as well, and be sure to turn on the bell if you don't want to miss any of my future uploads. I do also need to give a shout out to Voodoo, Nemesis and Not Jay's Day, who are members on my bot patrol, and it was a conversation in my bot patrol server that led to this video series being made, so thank you guys. You could have guessed, but we are going to be starting with how to make a DPS build on a Division 2. A DPS build for me is about damage output, and you should be looking to create a build that offers a good amount of damage, but also it has to match the survivability that you require, and we are all different there. For me, I just go full on damage with glass cannon and hit as hard as possible, but for others, this will not suit, and this is why we are doing this video series. You need to use everything at your disposal and find a happy medium. I believe the best way to test DPS builds that you put together is against other agents running DPS builds on heroic missions. If you're beating them on kills or not too far behind, then you know the build works. With DPS builds, crit chance and crit damage is important to get those higher hitting numbers, so you will need to allow for room for these in your build, and a lot of people like to have 50% chance with a minimum of 170% damage. In general, you'll lose damage output to add more survivability to your build, so just keep an eye on these numbers as you are building your build and make it a perfect fit for you. First, we are going to have a look at the brand sets and gear sets that suit DPS builds. We'll go over their set bonuses and why they would suit. Starting with Heraldry Holdings, this set is perfect if you like running marksman rifles, as having one piece of this gives you 10% marksman rifle damage. A second piece will give you 15% headshot damage, and then a third piece will give you 5% damage to armor. Badger Tough is another brand set that works well with DPS builds but has more survivability factors, and I would only bring this set into play if I was going to be using a shotgun as a primary. Having one piece Badger Tough will give you 10% shotgun damage, a second piece will give you 5% total armor, and the third piece will give you 10% armor on kill. Brand sets 511, Bellstone Armory, Gilligard and Jarl are all brand sets that can again be used to help support a DPS build with survivability, but they are more suited for tankier builds and will be used in my how to make a tank build video. The Seska brand set is one that offers more DPS and survivability to your build. Having one piece Seska will give you a set bonus of 10% crit hit chance, and if you go for two pieces you'll get 10% hazard protection as well, and then the three pieces will get you 10% health. If you like using assault rifles, then one piece of the Fenris brand set will be crucial as it gives you 10% assault rifle damage. Two pieces get you 20% reload speed, and then the third piece will give you 20% stability. Grupo Sombra is another great brand set for DPS builds, with just one piece of this giving you an extra 15% crit hit damage. A second piece gives you 15% explosive damage, which is pretty useless on a DPS build, but the third piece will give you 15% headshot damage. One piece of the Overlord brand set is needed for people who use rifles, as it will up your rifle damage by 10%. Two pieces of Overlord will come with 20% accuracy, and the third piece gives you 10% weapon handling. Petrov Defense is perfect for agents that like to run LMGs. One piece of Petrov gives you 10% LMG damage, a second piece will give you 10% weapon handling, and then the third piece will give you 20% ammo capacity. One of the most OP brand sets for DPS builds is the Providence Defense. For having one piece Providence, you'll get 15% headshot damage. Two pieces will give you 10% crit hit chance, and the third piece will give you 15% crit hit damage. The final brand set to complement your primary weapon of choice is Sokolov Concern. This will suit a player that enjoys SMGs, as one piece of this will give you 10% SMG damage. The second piece gives you 15% crit hit damage, and the third piece will give you 10% crit hit chance. And then finally, but certainly not least, is the Walker Harrison Co brand set. Having one piece of this on your build will give you 5% weapon damage, two pieces will give you 5% damage to armor, and then three pieces will give you 5% damage to health. The hardest job is mixing all of these together to give you all of the set bonuses and attributes that you want, and you can only have 6 spaces. To give you more food for thought here as well, there are also gear sets that can work along with brand sets to make good DPS builds. In my opinion, the Aces Innate, Negotiator's Dilemma, Tip of the Spear, Striker's Battle Gear and Hunter's Fury sets are ones that can work well with DPS builds. Each set gives you set bonuses for using 2, 3 or 4 pieces, and the 4th piece is a strong talent. The chest and backpack of each gear set come with additional talents too, but you lose 1 attribute roll for every piece of gear set that you use. Personally, I would build gear sets using all their 4 pieces and mixing 2 brand sets in with them. I would then create other DPS builds around branded gear only to allow for maximum attribute rolls. And there are also exotic gear pieces that can work well with DPS builds too. I would pay close attention to the Memento backpack, tardigrade chest piece, ninja bike knee pads and the coyote's mask if you're wanting to add to any DPS build. Only 1 piece of exotic gear can be used on a build. Once you have decided on the 6 gear pieces and attributes that you want to farm for, you then need to decide on what 2 talents you want to use on your chest piece and backpack. These talents can be what make the build what it is, and I'm now going to show you what talents I believe go well for DPS builds. On the chest piece, there are 10 talents that I like the sound of for DPS builds, so I'll just go over them. Overwatch provides 12% total weapon damage and skill damage to you and your team after staying in cover for 10 seconds. This damage stays if you stay in cover or perform cover to cover moves. Spotter amplifies total skill and weapon damage to enemies that are pulsed by 15%. Intimidate will amplify your damage by 35% to enemies within 10 meters of you if you have bonus armor. So this is key to find a way to get bonus armor for this, and there's a backpack talent soon that links up very well with it. Unbreakable will give you survivability when your armor is depleted, and you'll repair 95% of your armor, and the cooldown for the proc again is just 60 seconds. Focus will increase total weapon damage by 5% every second that you're aiming while scoped in with an 8 times or higher scope up to 50%. Glass Cannon will increase all weapon damage and skill damage by 25%, but the damage you take will also be amplified by 50%. Gunslinger allows you to increase your weapon damage by 20% for 5 seconds by just changing your weapon. Just don't swap while the buff is active. Headhunter is great for sniper builds. After killing an enemy with a headshot, your next weapon hit within 30 seconds deals an additional 125% from that killing blow's damage. Obliterate allows your damage to be increased with crit hits. Each crit hit will increase the weapon damage by 1% up to a total stack of 25. And then finally there is Spark. With Spark, damaging an enemy with a skill increases total weapon damage by 15% for 15 seconds. Moving on to the backpack talents, and there are 11 in total here that I believe that can work on a DPS build. Clutch allows you to repair armor with crits. If you are below 15% armor, crits will repair 3% missing armor every hit up to 100% armor depending on your core attributes. Adrenaline Rush will provide you with 20% bonus armor for 5 seconds when you are within 10 meters of an enemy, and this will stack up to 3 times. Bloodsucker will add a stack of 10% bonus armor for 10 seconds to a maximum of 10 stacks after killing an enemy. Leadership will grant 12% bonus armor to you and your team for 10 seconds if you perform a cover to cover maneuver. Companion will give you 15% weapon damage while you are within 5 meters of an ally or skill. Composure increases your weapon damage by 15% while you are in cover. Concussion will give you 10% extra weapon damage for 1.5 seconds after landing a headshot. You get it for 5 seconds of using a marksman rifle. Opportunistic will give you and your team an additional 10% damage from all sources to targets that you hit with a shotgun or marksman rifle for 5 seconds. Unstoppable Force will increase your weapon damage by 5% for 15 seconds when you kill an enemy, and this stacks up to 5 times. Versatile will amplify your weapon damage for 10 seconds when switching between your primary and secondary weapons if they are different. And then Vigilance is the last one on the list and gives you 25% total weapon damage, providing that you are not taking any damage. Taking damage removes this buff for 4 seconds. Once you have decided on the talents, you are now able to go and grind and put the build together. Make sure that you test out things and go with what sounds good for how you want to play. The last thing you'll need to do is decide on the weapons and talents that you want to use. But I have more videos planned to share my favourite types of weapons, so just go with what you want and what you like to use. The only exception being is your specialization. Although great to use, each specialization comes with upgrades that can improve different types of builds. Make sure you choose a specialization that complements your build most. For a DPS build, I quite like the Demolitionist because it provides me and my team with 5% damage to targets out of cover, and I get to survive an explosion every 60 seconds. Whichever specialization that you use though, make sure that you stack into the weapon damage of the weapons that you are using. And this is now the end of the video. I do hope that you like the take on it. it, and if you do need further inspiration, I will be releasing a few of my DPS builds over the next week. You can see how I use the details given to you today to make multiple DPS builds. My next video like this will be in a week or so when we discuss how to make a tank build. A big thank you again to Voodoo, Nemesis and Not Jay's Day for their help with the idea for this video, and a big thank you to all that watched it. Until the next video, peace out.